So what's today's episode on?
We'll be talking about two American heroes that are currently stuck in space.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, ignition. And liftoff of Starliner and Atlas V, carrying two American heroes, drawing a line to the stars for all of us.
So what was supposed to be an 8-day test flight has now turned into a media storm surrounding two Americans. You guys heard them, Butch and Suni, right?
I've never heard their names.
You've never heard their names?
No,
Oh,
I
wait,
just
so
know.
wait till we talk
I just
about
know two
these
astronauts.
American heroes.
Butch and Suni. Sounds like
Butch
two guys.
and Suni.
Isn't that a TV show?
Yeah.
Like
Turn around.
back in the day? Yeah, in the 70s?
Isn't it a dog?
No, these people are amazing.
Oh, that was Sundance. Butch and Sundance.
Yeah, this is Suni. Currently, these two astronauts are stuck in space, and it seems we don't have a clear plan for their return. This got me thinking, what exactly is holding up these two? What are the problems that the new Starliner is facing, and is there a fix or a plan for their return? So today, the INDB crew will cover all of these questions and more. I'm not dumb, but are Butch and Suni really stuck in space?
Welcome
To the I'm Not Dumb But
podcast, where we won't claim to have the answers to life's deepest questions,
But we'll give you an exciting journey
into the realms of knowledge you never knew you needed,
might be mainstream.
but not common knowledge. From artificial intelligence to conspiracy theories, no topic is too taboo for us to explore. Let's get curious together.
Welcome to the I'm Not Dumb But podcast. I'm your host for today, Rob, joined by the man who counts getting in and out of his car as leg day, Caesar.
Yo.
Did
Our
him
boy.
dirty. Did him dirty.
that was yeah.
Come on.
He spends 2 hours on calves a day.
A day.
This is why your squat is so pathetic.
Our boy who can cook up a good episode while baking a mean banana pudding, Victor.
How y'all doing?
And of course, who can forget our favorite diversity hire, Chris.
Yo.
How y'all doing today?
I'm not lost in space, I can tell you that. So that's good news.
Well, this is what we want to talk about. So, everybody loves a good rocket launch, but it's just something about the miracle of flight punching through the atmosphere that brings you to another world. It's just magical and dangerous at the same time. So what do you guys know about these two that are stuck in space?
Was this part of Elon Musk mission, like one of his spaceship?
No. So this is not Elon Musk.
So this
wasn't. Oh, okay.
Our boy will enter the story at
This
some
is
point.
a Boeing Starliner that they decided they've been doing
There
for.
we go.
Is it the new Boeing Starliner Max 800?
Yeah, it's a Boeing 747 Max 2.
With the updated MCAS system.
Does it have an MCAS system? Because I think they should fix
They
that.
took an old
They
rocket.
took it out along with the engine.
They put like a little thunderbolt on it and said, "Oh, this is brand new." Yeah, so this is their baby that they're trying to this program that they're trying to they've been developing for a while now,
Mm-hmm.
and it's had its shares of issues from the very beginning.
Well, listen, space isn't easy, okay?
It's risky.
It's
and it's
risky.
scary.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why I'm on the ground.
Do you know in space there's just nothing out there?
There's love out there though, so you're wrong.
Actually, love transcends space and time. Thanks, Interstellar.
It's like a black hole.
We looked into using love to get them back.
Have we called Matthew McConaughey?
We should. And we should have gotten him on the flight to begin with. He would have came right back.
Don't leave, Murph. Don't leave.
All right.
No, I mean, these are two highly trained test pilots who are veterans. They've actually been to space twice before. So let's introduce our astronauts. So for starters, the term astronaut, I don't know if you guys knew, but actually it's Greek. It's derived from Greek, and it actually means star sailor. So how many star sailors do you think we have in space right now?
15.
Chris said 15.
From the U.S.,
All total in the International Space Station.
20.
9. I say 9.
9, 20, and 15. So currently there are 12 astronauts aboard the International Space Station. 6 Americans,
USA number 1.
3 Chinese, and 3 Russians, or cosmonauts. When I was doing a little research, it was interesting. There's been over 766 people who have been into space.
Really? That's a lot. Different people?
Different people. They're saying that there's this boundary that is internationally defined, right? It's called the Karaman line. It's a boundary that basically it defines the edge of space. So where Earth's atmosphere ends and the outer space begins. And this line is 62 miles or over 100 kilometers because we have a lot of international listeners now. But there's been only over 643 astronauts or people who have broken the Karaman line. So that's a lot of people going to space.
I mean, I've never been on the edge of space, but I have been on the edge of glory.
How was that?
That was all right.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
It was underwhelming. If you pass that limit, do you get a stamp on your passport?
You
I
should.
don't know, but they don't have a TSA up there.
Can you stop and just be like, can I get a stamp real quick? Should I have been out here?
Someone just stops, takes a picture, and keeps going.
Yeah. You've been flagged. We gotta check.
Yeah, but they won't take you because
I have global entry.
You need that to get in.
They know me.
No, but there's a lot that involves to be an astronaut. I mean, like these two are. We'll just run through.
Yeah. What's their creds?
Yeah, these are the creds. Let's go over the creds, right? So Suni, or Sunita Lynn Williams, was born in Euclid, Ohio. She attended the U.S. Naval Academy with a bachelor's of science in physical science. She has a master's degree in engineering management. She was a naval aviator.
That's right, a naval aviator.
She wanted jets, but they gave her helicopters. Then she became a test pilot for the Rotary Wing Test Directorate. And she flew Ospreys and tons of other things. The T-2 aircraft, which is basically where people learn to fly jets. They fly the T-2, so it introduces people to jets. She retired with over 30 years in the Navy, has logged over 3,000 hours of flight time, has flown 30 different types of aircrafts, and she started her astronaut training in 1998. So she's been in the game for forever.
Do you know how many astronauts are from Ohio?
No.
Like an odd amount of astronauts that come out of Ohio.
Why do you think?
They want to leave the Earth that badly. They're like, this place sucks so much.
I can't even go 62 miles left, east or west. I'm just going north. Yeah, how many astronauts from Ohio?
25 astronauts
Really?
are
That's
from
crazy.
Ohio.
That is a lot.
That is.
Ohio astronauts have logged more than 22,000 hours in space.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Wow.
Damn, Ohio sucks. Anyway.
All right, back to the show.
Yeah, so she's completed over 7 spacewalks, putting her in the 5 all-time spacewalkers.
Top 5.
She's a former record holder for spacewalks by a woman. And on April 16, 2007, she was the first woman to run a marathon in space.
Now, how do you run a marathon in space?
I was going to say how.
On a treadmill, fucking obviously. Yeah.
Come on, bro. Oh, my God. Out of all the stuff we just went over, you
I
can't.
know, right? You don't think they have a treadmill in space? That's the thing you can't believe?
Yeah,
she's the 5th highest spacewalker. And you're like, yeah, but can she run a marathon? Like,
She did it
that's
in
what
space.
you have an issue with?
I guess she like signed up for the Boston Marathon and then ran it while everyone else was doing it. And she was just like, oh, I'm just going to do it in outer space.
Yeah.
I mean, can we get her on the podcast, though?
We can't. She's stuck in space.
Well, when we bring her back with love,
Yeah.
she's getting right back on. Too. I mean, we only get G's on this podcast. The last 2 were awesome. But yeah, I mean, it just like when you hear that, you're like, what am I doing with myself? Do you know what I ate for dinner last night? Well, I read this and I was like, I had Kraft mac and cheese with hot dogs in it.
That's a homeowner.
That's a homeowner. And then when I cut the hot dogs, I read this thing and was like, oh, try shears because it's easier than a knife. Do you know how dehumanizing it feels to cut your own food with scissors?
It sounds like you're already halfway to be an astronaut because you're eating fucking
Space food. Might as
space
well.
food. Yeah.
You okay?
Yeah. So Suni, she's a veteran. And then you got Butch, Barry Eugene Wilmore, aka Butch. Obviously, he's from Murfreesboro, Tennessee. He's got a bachelor's and master's in electrical engineering from Tennessee Tech. He's logged over 8,000 hours in aircraft with over 663 carrier landings in a tactical jet. He's been deployed on 4 combat missions, flew an A-7 Corsair jet and the F-18 fighter pilot. He was a test pilot and he even helped develop the T-45 jet trainer. and started astronaut training in 2000. So he's got over 24 years in the astronaut program. On top of that, he has numerous decorations and medals that, I mean, literally, there's a list of what he's won. And he was Pilot of the Year for the U.S. Atlantic Fleet, Strike Fighter Aviator of the Year. I mean, this guy is he is Maverick. So,
did you guys? There's like an astronaut that has 3 different careers. He was like a chef, like an army vet, he's a doctor. He's an astronaut.
Is that the Asian guy?
Yeah, the Asian guy.
That was Steven Seagal's last movie.
I'm just a cook.
What are we doing with our lives?
Yeah, I mean, when you read these guys' careers, you're just like, maybe I should look for a new job.
He did that because obviously his parents didn't love him enough.
You know
he would
what?
have been a failure otherwise.
Do you think that's what it was? I don't know. I just think that some people are born with it.
My mom loves me.
My parents don't love me enough, and I'm not an astronaut.
You just brought shame to your whole family.
So you got these smart people up there. What went wrong? You guys know?
Their spaceship broke.
Yeah. So there was a.
I mean, you could be the best pilot in the world, but if you don't have a plane, you can't really do much.
Yeah, and then that's really what it is. So there was a helium leak. This was a test flight. This is what it was supposed to be. So they used test pilots to send this thing up. So the Starliner actually was first flown in 2019. This was the first time they were actually going to put people on it. So they wanted vets on there to basically see all right, can we send this thing up? Can Boeing use this? In 2019, when they sent it up, shocker, Boeing failed. There were some issues, and the thing kind of flew off orbit, but it was successful in its return.
Wait, what do you mean it flew off of, or it just didn't go its scheduled path, or it was about to get launched into deep space?
No, so what happened was there was some sort of mission elapsed time clock.
The what?
Let's take a look.
The countdown ends at 0 when the mission elapsed time, MET, is triggered. The timeline begins on which all the important events are entered, such as the ignition of various engines and many more. This makes sense, because nobody knows exactly when liftoff will be possible. This way, critical dates do not have to be continuously converted. Based on the timestamps of the MET, time series for all operational data of the spacecraft are also continuously recorded in order to be able to compare predicted and actual measured values.
But what this thing was that it kind of threw its trajectory into an incorrect orbit.
Oh, okay.
So it wasn't able to dock successfully with the ISS in 2019.
Is this the thing that's supposed to go to the moon?
Yeah, they're going to start using this. Well, theoretically, they're going to start using this to start sending astronauts to the moon and eventually to Mars. This is Boeing's, I think I read somewhere about maybe using this as a commercial vehicle as well later on in the future. So this was Boeing's way of saying, okay, let's get in this. But my understanding is this thing's had issues from the very beginning. This isn't just out of nowhere. And those helium tanks, I think there were 7 of them, and 5 of them were broken, but they kind of fixed them, and then 2 of them were they couldn't fix, but they ended up getting there to the space station. So this shit was this thing was a failure from the very beginning.
Yeah, and from what I was reading, they said that there was actually helium leaks before the launch, and they knew about it, but they didn't really think it was a big deal, and it didn't pose a threat at the time. And the way it is I guess they use helium to basically push fuel and stuff in these lines, and they use helium also because it's non-toxic, not inflammable. And it's really small atoms. So it's able to find any holes or cracks or if any seals are broke. And then they can detect that helium. So this way they can find these leaks. So this is a common practice where they use helium. So they found some small leaks and they're it's probably not a big deal. We'll send it up anyway. But I guess when this thing took off and as it was approaching the ISS, the International Space Station, some of the thrusters that it needed to basically line up with the International Space Station. So the International Space Station is traveling at 17,500 miles per hour. That's roughly 5 miles a second. And as it's trying to dock, the thrusters go. All of them just start to fail. So now this thing is like hurling toward the ISS and they're trying to figure it out. So these test pilots, Butch and Suni, get on there, do whatever they got to do. They troubleshoot. They end up restarting the engines and they get the thrusters back online like pretty much last minute and then successfully dock. And then they said that as they did it, not even all the thrusters came on. They got like a majority of them on and were able to make it happen. But
thanks, Boeing.
Yeah. So they got it on there and that was their thing. This was a test flight. Let's see, let's man this thing and see how it works. So now they're up there and they're trying to figure out, well, can we come back with this thing? Can we fix it up here? We have 2 veterans with multiple spacewalks. How do we fix it?
Fix it? You got to take it to your local repair shop.
Yeah, you got to take it in.
You got to take it in.
Leave
Do they
it for
have
a couple
Flex
days.
Seal? The Flex Seal, they just slap it on. It should probably work.
Honestly, that's a great idea.
Think about
it. Flex Seal.
Flex tape is no ordinary tape.
You got to plug one of those code readers in there, right? For the check engine lights.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And then it'll tell you what's wrong with the fucking thing.
And then they'll break it. And then they'll tell you, hey, we suggest this. We found this.
And if they go to a body shop, it's going to cost. It's going to be they're going to have to redo the whole thing.
I know you need an oil change, but we just broke your front axle.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to, it's going to cost about $1,000.
That heat shield, that's got to go. That's got to go.
You could probably buff it out.
So that's the thing. So they're trying to fix it.
Are they trying to fix it, or they're just going to send it back without the...
Now, right? That's what they decided.
Well, this was the thing, is they were trying to fix it so they can come back with the Starliner.
Yeah.
Because there's tons of other space flights scheduled that are supposed to come up manned, and it's basically like, everything's timed. So they didn't want to interrupt all the other ones. Plus, the ISS needs work, so they needed those guys up there. Plus, they needed other astronauts to come up there, because when astronauts go to space, they do tons of like science experiments.
I thought they were just hanging out.
No, they go up there to do tons of science experiments. Plus, they're the experiment, because when they come back, they got to test their bodies and see how people react, and they basically gather tons and tons and tons of data on everything. And then that's how they use it to make future space flight more successful. They run all this data. And in addition to that, they fixed the ISS, because I didn't realize that their ISS is going to be out of service in like 6 years.
That's kind of crazy, though.
They say they're just going to let it like crash.
So there's a spot in like the Pacific Ocean where they send all the spacecraft to basically crash into the water.
Wow. Yeah, and it's like, are you going to put another one up there? Like when I was reading about NASA's plan, I guess the plan going forward is they're going to transition out of that low orbit where the ISS is, and they're just going to have that privatized. And then NASA is like Caesar was saying, is going to start working on longer range missions like the Mars and the moon and all that.
Write this down. MARS, Mars, bitches.
So the International Space Station cost $150 billion to make. And it cost $3 billion to run a year.
That's like 2 Olympics.
Yeah.
It's like
that's chump change.
Yeah. Wait, but why 2030 though? Is there a reason?
I think it's past its useful life. Because I don't know, how long has it been up there for?
It was launched in 1998.
So it's like 30 years.
Yeah, you wouldn't keep a car past what?
Who made it? Toyota?
Yeah.
Bro, I've seen
How long would you keep a car? You're going to keep a fucking space station running that long? You know how many miles that fucking space station has?
Yeah, but it just floats. I mean, come on. It's motor miles. It doesn't count.
How many years has it been up there?
27 years. 26 years. 28 years.
Let's do 27 years is 682,000 hours, and it's traveling at 17.4 thousand miles per hour. We'll just do the math here.
Yo, somebody get this guy a job at now. What are you doing on the podcast?
It's got some miles on it. It's 4.1 billion miles. If fucking Honda made it,
it's a baby.
It needs some oil changes.
And that's what the astronauts are doing.
Oh, there's a thing. There's a number right here. It just says 25 years in orbit, 9 months, 16 days. It just
use that.
I could just fucking use that.
What are you?
An idiot sandwich.
That's where we're at. So we got the 2 astronauts up there, and now we got to try to figure out how to fix it. So some of the ideas initially, I think, were to fix the leaks, patch them up. But the problem is you can't use like certain things up there. So they got to figure out what they can use. They might have to see what's on board. They might have to mix adhesives or try to basically make, like what you were saying, make these patches and go and do these super, super risky spacewalks and try to fix the ISS or fix the Starliner from the outside. On top of doing everything else that they have to do.
Who's responsible for fixing it? Is Boeing responsible, or is it like NASA?
I think
is there a warranty on this thing?
Yeah, they're pulling up the service contract. They're like, come on, bro.
It wasn't covered for helium leaks. It was covered for everything else, though. But not helium,
yes.
Yeah,
Sorry.
It's powertrain only.
Chevrolet guarantees you that with a warranty.
My understanding is that NASA and Boeing scientists are both working on it to try to come up with ideas on how to fix it.
Oh,
so there's like a group.
The crazy thing about it, they've been up there for months, right? So they're coming back down next year, right?
Yeah,
that's what they said. Yeah.
February. So right now we're gonna get to that, but yeah, they're it looks like they're extending their stay until February of next year. So the idea was, the initial plan was to bring them back on the Starliner, and Boeing is seriously pushing for them to come back on the Starliner. They've gone through all their quote unquote data, and they're saying that there's low risk. They believe they have full confidence that it will come back. NASA straight up said, we have zero confidence in the Starliner, and we're not putting people on it. It's interesting. NASA actually runs off of something called the loss of crew metric. So after they pull all the data, it has to be a 1 in 270 chance that they will lose the crew.
So there's a 1 in 207 chance that they might die, and they're like, that's fine.
Yeah. Well, space is risky, so they have to come up with some sort of metric and some sort of percentage.
I mean, I'd like 1 in 1,000. I mean, I think that would be cool. Like,
I mean, that's like really good.
Like every 200 and
but that's why
something
they do
launches.
That's why they do the test flights. This is all part of it. This wasn't like just one of those things where, you know.
I feel like there's that number to like days since last incident, like launches since last incident, and once it hits like 207, like they're all looking at each other like, well, I'm not going up on this one.
I'm not going up there.
I don't trust it.
So yeah, they work off that metric, and you know, they have the past disasters, you know, and they don't want to relive that.
And Boeing, from their track record, doesn't really care. They'll push a product on you, even knowing that inherent.
Yeah, they said that they've been saying, and from what I'm reading, that there's been a lot of pressure from Boeing on NASA to bring them back on the Starliner.
It's a black eye on Boeing.
Yeah,
you know,
a huge one.
So now NASA's like reading right through the bullshit. Like, you guys said the same thing about other things, and it's kind of like, well, we talked about it a couple of pods ago, where Boeing is just like, it's about the money, nothing else. So
it's like some coked up salesman that's just like, nah, this thing runs beautifully. It's gonna get your astronauts that are up and back. They're not even gonna feel a thing. Woo! Are we still doing this? I got to at home. I drive this thing all the time. I go to space every day.
I'm in space right now.
I'm in space right now. Never let me down.
I mean, it sounds like from the beginning was a bunch of red flags here and there.
Have you ever like looked into original NASA when they were like trying to go to the moon and shit? Like, they would just patch things up as they went,
which is understandable, right? I feel like this is different just because of like the track record that Boeing seems to be on. And NASA, if NASA, like, we're losing funding. We got these 2 astronauts up there. This has issues from the very beginning. If we put these guys and they die, are people going to blame Boeing or NASA?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
They're probably going to blame NASA.
Well, the thing too is that before, NASA never really had a plan B. So now that you got SpaceX and you got a bunch of other companies able to go up there, they have other options. And if they feel that those options are safer, that's exactly what they're doing. sometime in September, they're going to send the Starliner back uncrewed, right? Because these things are automatic. They're going to send that back, and they're going to sit and wait and see who was right, essentially, is what's going to happen, right? They're going to see, could we have sent them back or not? Hopefully everything is good.
If that thing blows up.
Exactly. And that's what they're doing.
It's not even if it blows up. It's going to come back, but the internal temperature was like 1,000 degrees at one point. You're just like, it's just a little heat. It's that same salesman, the coked up salesman comes out. It was just a little heat. Everyone loves a little heat. It's summertime.
Am I right? Hans, Bobby.
Yeah, so they're going to bring the Starliner back uncrewed. And what happens is they're going to use SpaceX. So our boy Elon is going to come in and single-handedly save the day.
That's where Elon comes in.
So yeah, I mean, Boeing and SpaceX were both awarded billion-dollar contracts by NASA to provide this commercial space flights for astronauts. So Boeing was given about $4.2 billion in funding, and SpaceX was given around 2.6. SpaceX so far has sent 9 crewed flights to space for NASA, as well as some commercial missions. But this is Boeing's first attempt at a crewed mission, and it's just not going well for them.
Wait a minute. So SpaceX was given less money, and they were already sending people up back and forth.
9 crews.
Nine crews.
And
these
they
guys
have
were
another
given
one
double.
scheduled. Exactly.
These guys were given double, and then they still have yet to deliver.
Mm-hmm.
Who's doing the
and
contracts?
This was supposed to be their flagship first on flight, and it just hasn't been good. Just hasn't been good.
Wasn't Boeing always the sole winner of the spaceship?
Yeah, they were like the ones.
It's a combination. It's not just Boeing.
Oh, okay.
The manufacturers of the Starliner is Boeing and then Bigelow Aerospace.
The tea company?
That's what I was going to say.
Well, they got to diversify. The tea business has been...
They're burning green tea.
Well, tea business has been around exploration for since the early ages of exploration. So it only makes sense that they just go to space to look for indigenous people to take advantage of.
Very nice. So that's what we're waiting for. So in February, SpaceX Crew Dragon spacecraft was supposed to have 4 people on it. And what NASA is going to do and what SpaceX is going to do, they're only going to send 2. And then when they come back, Butch and Suni are going to return on the SpaceX Dragon spacecraft. And that's the plan right now on how we're going to bring them back.
So how long will they have been spent in space in total?
Probably 2 years, give or take, right?
They went up in June, so July.
Yeah, and they're coming back next year, right?
8 months.
Oh, I don't think that's even close to the record.
No. People have been up there for longer.
So when they go back, that's considered as a rescue mission, or is that something? Are they calling it something different?
No, because it was a scheduled flight, and they're just going to return on that. It's like when Delta's like, "Hey, we ever booked this flight, and you want to take the next one?"
You got to hold out for the good number because they're going to be like, they're going to first offer you
they're going to lowball you at first.
Yeah, they're going to lowball you. So you got to wait for
they're going to lowball you.
You got to wait till they break like $800.
Yeah, 1,000's usually like a good number, but you got to get up there quick.
So a Russian cosmonaut has the record. He spent 878 days in space.
Wow.
To be fair, though, he probably just didn't want to go home. Russia's kind of depressing.
Is this Russia? This isn't Russia, is it? Nah.
All right, on that note, we're going to bring our boys back. But before we do, let's play a game. So we're going to play 2 rounds, and it's going to be guess what NASA has not created. I'm going to give you 5 things. You're going to have to spot the ones that NASA did not create, inventions that they did not create. The winner of the game gets to stay on the podcast and choose one other person to continue to be on the podcast. So sorry, Chris. This is where you're at.
Wait, this is my last podcast?
Yeah, sorry about that. We just thought we'd send you off. All right, you guys ready? Number 1, scratch-resistant lenses. Spandex. The MRI machine, the computer mouse, athletic shoes. 2 out of the 5 that they did not create.
That did not create.
It was not a NASA invention.
All right, I'm going to say the computer mouse.
Okay.
The MRI machine.
Okay, so yours is computer mouse and MRI machine. Caesar?
You know, that's exactly what I had written down. But you know what? I'm going to go with the computer mouse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, why not? They didn't create the athletic shoes.
They did not create... Okay.
I'm going to go with
athletic shoes for Caesar. All right. Christopher?
I'll say the sneakers, right? Athletic
Chris,
shoes.
I just said it, Chris.
I know, right? The
computer mouse. Well, I'm going last. I'm going last. I know. I have to get this right. And man, they all sound pretty reasonable, though.
Do they though?
I mean, for scratch, what was it? Resistance lens, you know, it sounds reasonable, right? Because they're out in space. Maybe they get hit by the rocks or whatnot. So they want to make sure.
I think if a rock hits you,
or dead.
It's
you're dead.
Good thing I had this scratch resistance because of the meteor that went by.
I'll say fine. Then a spandex. And
so you're saying spandex,
right?
And athletic shoes. All right. NASA has not created in their invention spandex,
nice,
and the MRI machine.
Son of a bitch.
Oh, created a computer mouse. Huh,
they created a computer mouse. Scratch-resistant lenses was part of a creation, and athletic shoes.
Really? I thought it was just Japanese. Tiger created the sneakers.
No.
From 1800s.
That sounds like a racist joke. I think we all got one right.
You all tied, so Chris lost that one. All right, so
tiebreaker.
Safe.
Tiebreaker. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Yes.
Tiebreaker. Here we go. This is for all the marbles. Here's the new list. You guys ready? Landmine removal. The jaws of life. Teflon. Velcro. Baby formula. Which 2 out of these 5 was not an innovation from NASA? Chris?
Velcro and baby formula.
Okay. Oh, good choices. Caesar?
This was tough. I guess I'll go with the landmines removal and the baby formula. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm going to throw a Hail Mary into this one. I'm going to say landmine removal and Teflon.
Ooh.
Teflon.
Okay. All right. You guys ready?
So, never mind. I'm not going to say anything. Go ahead.
Okay, you ready?
I have a history lesson for you about landmine removal. My name is Chris. I am an expert on landmine removals. And I can tell you right now that NASA created it.
It's not even what he sounds like.
Fucking asshole.
I hate you so much.
For all the marbles, Teflon and Velcro.
What? No,
they didn't. Sorry, Chris, you lost.
Crazy.
Teflon and Velcro.
I could have sworn they did both of those things.
I could have sworn they created Velcro.
No, they use it, but they did not create it. So looks like Victor. Well, actually, let's be honest. We can't get rid of Victor because he does everything for us. So, Victor, you can send out in our next email who you're choosing to keep.
I got one right,
and I got one right too.
And Caesar got one right?
Caesar got them both wrong. He said landmine and baby formula, and that was
you're completely wrong. You're an idiot. What an idiot you are.
Yeah. So stupid.
What an idiot.
Why don't you go work for Boeing? Maybe you can design the next MCAS system.
I can get you up there. Can't get you back down.
All right, so what are our key takeaways? What do you guys think? Victor?
Space is kind of crazy. I hope they get their shit together. I think the astronauts will come back fine. As long as they don't come back in that Starliner coffin.
Chris?
Hopefully, it was Sunny and Butch?
And Cher.
Butch.
Welcome back. Well, hopefully they'll come back safely. But this is like blockbuster over, Hollywood over already. Dude,
yeah.
Within a couple of years.
This sounds like a shitty fucking movie.
That's how they get money.
How is that a good movie? Hey, we went up there. Hey, the ship's broken. Okay, send it back by itself. All right.
But regardless.
That's like Apollo 13, but without any of the suspense. Hey, the ship's broken. Yeah, okay, we'll just wait for the next ride. Okay, cool.
We'll catch the next one.
Tom Hanks is going to be really riveting in that one.
It's going to be NASA and Boeing fighting. That's where drama is.
Oh, great. It'd have been Aaron Sorkin fucking film. Just like two lawyers talking
and then
the whole
Elon
time.
Musk shows up in the middle of it, and then he's the hero of the whole movie.
I mean, he's saving the world right now. Hyperloop changed the game.
But no, it is crazy, like how it's just like helium leak, like something like that could cost or change everything with the whole, Like I said, hopefully they come back home safely.
Do they think about like just sucking it in and just like high pitched voice that shit? Because that could be.
This is Major Tom to ground control.
Like,
I'm floating through the air.
They could have done that the whole time. They could have done
And
that.
I've sucked a lot of helium today.
Caesar.
I thought this article was interesting when I first came across it. Like these two astronauts stuck up there, and the crazy thing about it, because of Boeing's track record recently has been awful, and which is one of the reasons why I was kind of interested. They should come back down in one piece with Elon Musk's SpaceX, right? And that's just another win for him. And eventually, that company is going to keep going, get better and better, and they're going to just take over the game. And Boeing, once again, shoot themselves in the foot. It's on them.
All right. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we thank you for listening. Please follow us on Twitter at I'm Not Dumb But to stay updated on what we got going on, and we encourage you to be an active member of our community. We love hearing from our listeners, whether you have questions, suggestions, or just want to share your thoughts on topics we cover. We want to hear from you. Until next time, stay curious.
Bye.
The Starliner spacecraft had a perfect landing at New Mexico's White Sands Space Harbor. This is exactly what NASA had hoped would happen, but was apparently not convinced. And that is why Starliner left its crew 260 miles above central China.